Welcome into OutKick the show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I hope all of you are having fantastic Thursdays, wherever you may be across this great nation or around the world, wherever you might be. Going to be doing the NFL and college football gambling picks with Kelly Stewart on the Fade. About to tape that as soon as we finish this show. That will be up soon. But I want to tell you right off the top, we got a bunch of stuff we're going to hit. Thursday Night Football, I've got picks for you I'm about to give you. The beard coming under attack from Politico. I've had a beard for 22 years, so I have strong feelings here. Southern schools have exploded in popularity per the Wall Street Journal. I meant to mention this earlier this week. I've got the print newspaper version to discuss all of that with you. Vanderbilt. I want to thank Vanderbilt University for letting Tennessee, Nashville area middle schools play in their tournament. I got a strong take on why single left-wing women don't like J.D. Vance. Doug Emhoff accused of slapping Kamala Harris. All that and more. But right off the top, I want to say, and we're going to talk about much of the media ignoring what's going on in Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and South Carolina. Tremendous loss of life there. Limited federal support so far. It's just neighbors helping neighbors. It's inexcusable. I'm going to tee off. Get your popcorn. In the meantime, PrizePicks, best way to win real money this football season. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds. You can turn your sports opinions into real money all season long. You can win up to 100 times your money on as little as 4 correct picks. If you sign up today, use code OutKick. You get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus, guaranteed. Code OutKick to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Here is my pick for tonight. Last Thursday night, we won 10-1 on the payout universe. Thursday Night Football, for those of you who do not know, Atlanta Falcons going up against Tampa Bay Buccaneers in an NFC South battle. Kirk Cousins against Baker Mayfield. I believe we're going to get a bunch of passing yards. So I am on Kirk Cousins more than 232.5 passing yards. Baker Mayfield more than 244.5. Mike Evans more than 60.5. And Drake London more than 63.5. This is easy. 2 receivers more, 2 quarterbacks more, straight more across the board. By the way, this may stun you. Some people don't like me. Even though I think I'm the most likable person on the planet, even though I find myself to be devilishly handsome and irresistible, it may stun you. Some people don't like me. So if you hate me, if you think that I am the worst human being, the dumbest, the most moronic person that you have ever seen, you can take less. You can fade me by taking the exact opposite of every pick I just made. Still using the code OutKick, you will get $50. And if I am wrong on everything, you can celebrate my stupidity with money in your pocket. How could it even get better? Of course I'm going to win. But if you think I'm going to lose, you can take the other side. You still get $50. PrizePicks.com, code OutKick. Baker, Kirk, Mike, and Drake. Let's go, boys. All over. All more for all 4 of those guys. We are going to win 10 times our money, just like we did last week. Okay. I want to start with the situation right now going on in North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and South Carolina. There are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people right now in those places. Western North Carolina, East Tennessee, all over Georgia, in the upper part of South Carolina, in the mountainous area. A lot of people don't realize South Carolina has mountains. They do. All sorts of major, unbelievable, awful outcomes from Hurricane Helene, which brought down a massive amount of rain, which caused flooding, collapsing trees, all sorts of disaster all throughout those 4 states. Biden and Kamala are failing all of the people in this region. This is Katrina on steroids, far bigger than what happened in New Orleans from a geographical area. Hundreds we know of, people dead. Unfortunately, reports are that many more are going to be found dead, and many people are still struggling to survive in this region. Leave aside politics for a moment. The number one job of American politicians is to protect the people inside of this country. And right now, they are failing at taking care of them, meaning Kamala and Biden. And they are saying now that FEMA is out of money because the Federal Emergency Management Organization there, authority, has actually spent their money on illegal immigrants, giving them free hotel rooms in New York City, giving them free Wi-Fi, giving them free meals. This is America last. Our own citizens are being left behind in favor of people who are illegally in this country. We're doing a better job providing resources for non-citizens than we are for citizens. And so when I see all of this happening, it is completely unacceptable. And I think it has to be intentional. Yes, I'm going to go there. I think if this were predominantly blue voters, I think Kamala Harris and Joe Biden would be taking far better control of this situation and providing far more support. I think the fact that these are overwhelmingly Trump voters in overwhelmingly red locations. I know Asheville is a blue dot in a sea of red. But overwhelmingly, if you look at the numbers, these areas vote for Trump. And given the fact that in particular Georgia and North Carolina are going to be battleground states, I think this is a calculated decision by Kamala Harris and Joe Biden not to respond aggressively to take care of these people because they think they'll benefit politically if these people are worried about trying to get back on their feet and not focused on voting. I'm sorry, somebody has to say it. One thing that got a lot of attention on Katrina was when Kanye West said George W. Bush doesn't like black people. The media actually covered it. They went to New Orleans and they ensured that resources were pouring into the area. How many media do you see covering what happened in Hurricane Helene? I don't see very many. Right now, in an effort to try to bring attention, I am in the process of trying to figure out how to take the Clay and Buck show, myself personally, and do it from this region. As I am talking to you, I'm trying to get a helicopter booked so that I can go into East Tennessee and Western North Carolina, see what's going on there. We have broadcast station in the Tri-Cities in Tennessee. We are broadcasting. We have a big station in Asheville, North Carolina. A lot of these people are our people. They listen to us on the radio show every day. They read OutKick. They consume. They're big college football fans. They've been fans of OutKick for a long time. That area, overwhelmingly, we over-index with this crew because I started off talking about college football, and I can guarantee you that almost everybody in those communities cares a lot about college football, cares a lot about high school football. They are the heartbeat of OutKick. They always have been. I'm going to try to do whatever I can to get in there and help them and to shine a light on their troubles. So I am in the process right now, literally checking text messages as I'm talking to you to try to get into East Tennessee and Western North Carolina and help tell some of the stories there and help bring more resources. So I'm trying to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm trying to use my platform to the best of my ability to get as much help for as many people there. I wish Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were doing the same. Kamala showed up and said, oh, we're going to get $750 to people. Come on. You're talking about entire towns that no longer exist. You're talking about people who don't have banks where they can even go into a bank. You're talking about people who aren't going to be able to have remote banking or deposit checks or have mail arriving at their house for months. This is insufficient. And I can't help but think that if this were a predominantly blue voting area, they would show up and take care of people here. I'm going to do whatever I can to try to help. And I promise to all of you that I'm going to be doing it. So that is my take. Again, I'm trying to put my money where my mouth is. As I am talking to all of you right now, I am trying to figure out a way to get everything up and running, to be able to help those people as much as I possibly can. A lot of people are saying FEMA's not helping. A lot of people are saying the federal government's getting in the way of good people being able to do their best to help out their neighbors. I'm going to go and try to help as best I can. So that's my promise to you. We've done it before. Heck, I think I'm wearing a shirt. We would, when I ran OutKick, we would try and raise money for people dealing with disasters. I would suggest that OutKick should try to do the same. I don't run OutKick anymore. It's much more of a corporate entity now than it was when I ran it, and I can just snap my fingers and do whatever I want. But I can take the Clay and Buck radio show and go into Eastern Tennessee and Western North Carolina and see with my own eyes what's going on there and try to bring as much help as possible. So more details to come. We're in the process of working on this, just so you know. Okay. Much less serious. There is, I figure there's probably some desire for some humor. So I saw this story from Politico, and I couldn't help but react to it. Debate on Tuesday night. I told you I thought J.D. Vance wiped the floor with Tim Walz, but Politico had facial analysis to try to determine who was more liked. And they wrote, yes, Vance's beard matters. Now, to be fair, I have had a beard. Some of it's turning gray, by the way, so you can't see it coming in as clearly as you used to. I might have to start growing it longer if it's all going to go white. I don't know why the beard goes white before the hair goes white, but I'm dealing with that right now. Says, yes, Vance's beard matters. I've had a beard since 2002. So I'm going on 22 years of having a beard. Vance is the first White House wannabe to wear facial hair in 80 years. Research indicates that voters see beards as more masculine. That can be positive to some, but to others, especially women, it can be negative, conveying aggression and opposition to feminist ideals. Really, really funny. If wearing a beard means that I think people wearing vagina hats are idiotic losers, then I guess I've had a beard for a long time and looked good with it. I don't know. I was on the front edges of the beard revolution. When I started having a beard in 2002, almost nobody had a beard. And in fact, I was nervous about it because nobody in a law firm had a beard. So when I went to go work in law firms, I was like, do I need to shave my beard? Am I going to be discriminated against in a law firm? Because nobody had beards. The only people that had beards in 2002 were 70-year-old professors who sat around in tweed coats and smoked pipes. Now, everybody, it feels like, a lot of young people have beards. A lot of guys do. And I don't buy that a beard is negative. Maybe it's a negative for some people, but I thought it was funny because they said the beard could be a negative. On the flip side, Tim Walz's wide eyes. I'm doing my Tim Walz right now. Does this look normal? Do you oh, I trust Clay? It looks creepy and weird. This is what Politico wrote. Eye popping can sometimes be a sign of surprise, but for Walz, it simply revealed his emotional intensity. Like during an exchange about abortion, the dynamic and emphatic facial motion grabs the viewer's attention. Do you trust me more? For Walz, it gave extra weight to his feelings and held our gaze. Maybe I've just been losing out. Maybe I should have been eye-popping this whole life. Maybe I'd be a billionaire. Heck, maybe I'd be president of the United States. Do you see my intensity? Do you feel my feelings? Are you gazing deep within my eye-popping eyes? Come on, this is crazy. This is an example of propaganda media. Walz looked like a crazy man. Vance looked completely normal. A beard, which doesn't really change. Eye-popping is crazy. So anyway, this is the kind of coverage that you get from the mainstream media. Politico also has a story up right now that says, Tim Walz has a tendency to misspeak. It may haunt the campaign. Lying. I think the word you're looking for is he has a tendency to lie about carrying weapons in war, lie, about the DUI, which he lied about in his first campaign, about IVF, which he didn't actually do, about being in Tiananmen Square, which he didn't actually do, about the number of times he's been to China, which he lied about. This dude has lied about everything. And these are just the things that we know about. It is strange, worthy of contemplation. Tim Walz's a liar. If you wondered whether the media was honest, let's just say you're out there and you're like, you know what, Clay, you're wrong. The media is not biased. Journalists don't pick sides. They're completely fair and unbiased. You're wrong. CBS News was phenomenal. ABC News was phenomenal. The reason why you have to fact check Donald Trump and J.D. Vance is because they lie so much more than Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, even though I just ran through a bunch of significant lies that Tim Walz has told. Maybe you think that I'm being uncharitable, that I'm being unfair, that I am in fact wrong, that I am laced with bias and you cannot trust me. Story came out yesterday from the Daily Mail. It said that Doug Emhoff, that is Kamala Harris's husband, in 2012 slapped his girlfriend so hard on the face that it caused her to complete a circle. She spun all the way around. She was so overcome by it that she called immediately several of her friends, all of whom have said, yes, this happened. Doug Emhoff, Kamala Harris's husband, in 2012, slapped his girlfriend so hard that it made her spin around because he was angry that she was flirting with someone else at a fancy party. Now, at the time that he did this, Adam, can you look up how old Doug Emhoff is now and let me know, text me how old he is right now? I think he's in his late 50s. He may be 60 now. He was in his 40s, I believe, at the time he did this. Now, I have 3 boys. I talk to them all the time about how a man can never put his hands on a woman. This is a straightforward rule that I was taught, and I talked about it on the radio earlier. Sometimes when you're young, I had a younger sister. She would hit me. She would pinch me. She would do all sorts of things to me. Yes, she was guilty of all of those things. And as soon as I did anything back, she would tattle on me. And my dad would say, oh, Clay, you can't touch a girl. Okay? I am far from perfect. I am 45 years old. There is not a woman in my life that has ever been around me in any way that could ever say that I've ever put my hands on her. It's never even happened. It's never come close to happening. Should never happen for any of you. If you don't have strong male figures in your life and you're listening to me, every man that puts his hands on a woman, in my opinion, is always wrong. Should never happen. Now, women shouldn't hit men either. Like, I'm anti-violence, but there is no excuse for a man putting his hands on a woman. And sometimes women, they hit you. Remember that video that went super viral of Jay-Z getting attacked by Beyonce and her sister in the elevator? I don't know what Jay-Z did, but I got to give him props. He took it. He didn't pull a Ray Rice. He didn't cock his fist back and knock her out, which he could have easily done. He took the fact that they were attacking him, and he just wore it. Sometimes, because you're bigger, you're faster, you're stronger, as a man, you have to take it. If a woman goes off on you, even though I don't think it's right, you got to take it. All right, let's backdrop. Kamala Harris said that Brett Kavanaugh could not be on the Supreme Court because she believed all women. She read from his high school yearbook. She attacked him in the Senate Judiciary Committee hearings and said that she believed all women. And honest media would immediately approach Kamala Harris and say, do you believe the woman who says your husband, Doug Emhoff, slapped her so hard that she spun around full circle? If not, why not? Because you have said hashtag you believe all women. That's what an honest media member would ask. And I hate to even have to say this, but an honest media member would also follow up and say, has Doug Emhoff ever hit you? Because the reality is this. Ain't very many men out there that only hit one woman. If you in your 40s have ever hit a woman as a man, I think it's highly unlikely that you've only done it once. So I think not only did Doug Emhoff, Kamala Harris's husband, impregnate his own nanny, kind of a big deal, kind of a jerk move, kind of significant. Not only did he impregnate his own nanny, but there is evidence, pretty strong evidence, that he slapped the crap out of his girlfriend in 2012, 12 years ago. He would have been 47 years old. So if you think I'm old, I'm 45. This would be like me hitting a woman in 2 years. My point is, this isn't some story like the Brett Kavanaugh story where, oh, by the way, there's an allegation that he did something when he was 16 years old and like we're going to dive into it, or 17 years old or whatever else. This is an allegation that a 47-year-old man, a father of two, slapped the crap out of a girl in 2012. Will Kamala even ever be asked about this story or the fact that Doug impregnated the nanny? Has she been asked about either? If we had an honest media, how in the world would that not be a question that she is asked about? Because she's arguing that she and her husband have such character that they should represent the United States all around the world. What if Doug Emhoff's beating the crap out of her in the White House? What if he's beaten the crap out of her before? Does Kamala still believe all women? This is very basic stuff. If we had an honest media, that would be questions that are being asked. So far, to my knowledge, it's not being asked. All right, couple of other things that are out. Oh, I got a take. I got a take that's going to drive people bonkers. Make sure you clip this. J.D. Vance is hated, supposedly, by left-wing single women. They are the cadre of the entire voting electorate that is the angriest at J.D. Vance for saying, making fun of childless cat women, all these things. Let me hit you with this. They don't actually hate J.D. Vance. They actually love him because he represents what they wish they had. Think about it. The girl went viral recently for her list of men. J.D. Vance, over 6 feet tall, 6-figure salary, loves kids, has multiple kids, appears to love his wife, has a great job, great education. J.D. Vance is what all of these single women out there want in a man, but they don't have him, so they hate him for it. Theory. They're going to get angry when this gets shared, and they're going to say, yo, we don't. We want a beta male. We want a 5'4" feminist. Liars. You want a dude who makes 6 figures, is 6 feet tall, makes enough money that you can have a family, and if you decide you don't want to work anymore, you don't have to work anymore. Every woman wants it. Every one of them. Now, a lot of them settle. They end up with not that. And that's a credit to men because not everybody is 6 feet making 6 figures. A lot of people work really hard, don't get there. That's what every woman wants. They really want J.D. Vance. And so, when this thing went viral of everything that the girl wanted, and people were like, it's so unrealistic for you to be able to find all of this, I told my wife, I said, boy, you don't know how lucky you are. I've been married 20 years. I said, you got a 6-foot husband making substantially more than 6 figures. It's 8 figures, but, I'm not the kind of guy to brag. You got 3 kids. Means I got a dick that works, sperm that swims. You got amazing sense of humor. Maybe the humblest man in all of media. Bench press 185, 10 pounds, barely even sweat. Super strong, super smart, graduate degrees, 2 of them. 6 feet tall, 8-figure salary. I said, you don't even know how good you've got it. Humble, Did I mention humble? I said, you don't even know how good you've got it. She must not have heard me because she still hasn't responded. True story. All that, like nothing. Some people said I might have missed an eye roll. Others have suggested that she might have heard me well and just chosen to ignore it. Did I mention dashingly good looking? I left that out. How did I leave that out? I just got to point out, my wife's an incredibly lucky woman. And so is J.D. Vance's wife. And so, unfortunately, are the women that hate him not, because they can't find what they are so desperately seeking. And deep within their soul, they know it's true, and that's why they hate him so. Do you know? I mean, this is true. Do you know who the most medicated people in America are? Women over 40 without partners. They claim that they are happy. Deep inside their soul, they are the unhappiest people on the planet. And that's why, I mean, this is the truth. That's why so much of Democrat Party politics is about emotion, because they're emotionally unhappy, and that's the void that politics tries to fill for them. And that's the void that Kamala Harris is trying to fill. I mean, look, you can disagree with me, but go look at the data. The foundation of the Democrat Party is childless women who can't find men that they want to marry or that will marry them. They're profoundly unhappy, and they're trying to use left-wing politics to fill the void in their life that isn't satisfied by family, by religion, by children. I mean, it's sad, and I've tried to address it a little bit with humor here, but this is the foundation of the Democrat Party. Childless, unhappy women that have tried to use Democrat politics as their salvation. And honestly, this is why they see Trump and now J.D. Vance as the great Satan, because as white men, they have bought into the idea that the reason they're unhappy is because, and I'm going deep psychology and just going right into their brains and telling you, they bought into the reason that they're unhappy is because these guys are evil. And they're not behaving rationally because they are so emotionally broken that is the worldview that they have established. Now, I'm not letting all men off the hook. I think one of the real challenges we have in America today is lots of young men don't know how to grow into productive men. And they're living at home, and they don't have great jobs, and they don't have a lot of self-confidence. And if you're a woman, you don't want to tie your foundation to these guys because they're aimless, they're drifting. You don't see them as worthy of investment. Really, that's really what marriage is at its most basic level. It's the most important investment that most of us will make in our lives, because who you pick as your life partner not only likely leads to the children that you'll have, but it's basically like, who are you in the bunker with? Who is your life partner? Who's got your back? And what can you create together? And there's lots of women out there that are actually having success. They're graduating from college. They're having a good career, and they can't find a man that they want to invest with. And that's the indictment of men. And I think one of the profound challenges that men have is what it means to be a man has so been attacked. Because it used to be, what is a man? What's the purpose of a man? Like, why do you need a man? Man's the head of the household. He provides for his family. He provides security. He provides stability, provides a foundation, a home. A lot of men don't do that anymore because women have argued they don't want that. I don't need a man. Well, you've destroyed the concept of manhood. You got guys like Doug Emhoff running around talking about toxic masculinity. And in the process, by the way, you got lots of men who are not in the house. So you got a lot of single parent women that are trying to raise men and are trying to do the job of both men and women. And you know what the data reflects? Young boys actually do far worse in single-parent households than young women do. Why is that? Probably because the young women see the woman as their role model. And if you're doing the role of husband and wife, of man and woman, you're actually an incredible role model. I give credit to a lot of women out there that are single parents, that are doing the jobs of two. But as a result, you got a lot of childless, fatherless kids, and they don't know how to become men. And so you simultaneously have a culture at large that's saying masculinity is toxic, there's no value to men, that's tearing down manhood, and you simultaneously have no great example of manhood inside of many homes. And so I think, I'm not claiming to be a perfect dad, but the reason why I think I'm a pretty good dad is to a large extent because I had a great dad. I was talking earlier about not putting your hands on a woman. Having a dad who is a strong masculine role model matters tremendously for boys. And I think there is a total loss of what masculinity means in this country, and women are losing out because of it. But in particular, men are not excelling as men should. And I think about this a lot because I've got 3 boys, 16, 14, and 10. And I want them to grow up and be productive dads. I want them to have big families. I want them to have a wife that likes them more than mine does. I want them to be really good at being a dad and being a husband. And so I spend a lot of time with them trying to focus on that. But I think we're suffering from a profound crisis of masculinity in this country. I really do. Sorry to get super deep for you. Let me give you a positive. This is from the Wall Street Journal Weekend Edition. Wall Street Journal comes out Saturday, Sunday edition. Only comes out once. They don't do a official double weekend. But the story is here that I'm reading. Sorry, Harvard, Southern schools are where it's at. And this is the subheading. The likes of Georgia Tech, Clemson, and Ole Miss are drawing students from the North who want to have fun, save on tuition. The shift is boosting the economies of cities across the region. And then there's a huge graph here, which you can see. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. But it shows that the applications to Mississippi schools from the Northeast in the last 20 years are up 800%. They're up around 700% at Alabama. They're up 600% at Tennessee, up orders of magnitude 300, 400% at South Carolina, Arkansas, Louisiana, Georgia. What's going on here? South's winning. SEC, ACC, big state schools are a lot of fun. They actually embrace traditional roles of masculinity and femininity. They love football. They like pretty girls. They like beer. They like having a good time. And oh, by the way, there also are amazing cities for you to live in this region. And so when you come down here for college, you stay. The culture of the South, and I would tie it in, I think, also with the way you saw the protests on campuses. You saw so many places out there where they were showing up saying, oh, we got to support Hamas. Oh, the Palestinians are the real victims. Yay, Hezbollah. Yes, Israel is the enemy. You didn't see that in the South. In fact, all these Southern schools had counter-protests that shut down the protesters trying to argue that Israel was responsible for October 7th or that somehow the Palestinians were the real victims. And I think a lot of parents saw that, and they're sending their kids here. And then Atlanta, Nashville, Charlotte, a lot of these cities, certainly Miami, Tampa, all these big cities in the South are benefiting immensely. Charleston, Greenville, from these huge influxes of population, smart, educated, fun-loving kids all coming to the South. 20 years ago, when I went away to college on the East Coast, people talked like Tennessee was the backwoods. Now, all these New York, California, Chicago area parents Boston area parents, they're all sending their kids to school in the South because the culture here is one that they appreciate more, and I guarantee you'll have an amazing time. All right. Love all of you. My name is Clay Travis. One more thing. About to do the show with Kelly Stewart, The Fade. Thank you to Vanderbilt University. I'm an alum, but I would give them a shout out even if I was not an alum. They opened up Vanderbilt's football stadium for Nashville area middle schools to be able to play their championship games on the field there. And some of you said, oh my God, you're already in championship season. Yeah, we played a 7-game season. Starts in early August, finishes now. So my 8th grader got to play on the field. He just was beaming, even though the result was not what they wanted, to let these kids play inside of Vanderbilt football stadium. Major credit to Vanderbilt University. I believe they had 6th, 7th, maybe 8th grade football, tackle football championship games on their fields. Huge memory for these kids. They will remember getting to do this for the rest of their lives. My son was talking about how cool the Vanderbilt turf was, how amazing it was to run around and have played on that field. They will remember it for the rest of their lives. I want to make sure I say thank you and well done when I see things in my own personal life that are worthy of thanks and particularly well done. Props to Vanderbilt University. And thanks, by the way, to all the coaches out there that are working their asses off to coach kids, boys, young boys, and try to raise them into manhood. A lot of those kids out there don't have active fathers in their lives. Football in particular is an incredible benefit for a lot of kids out there that need structure, that need strong male upbringing. I mean, it really does make a difference. All sports, but in particular football. Thank you to the coaches out there for trying to get kids on the right track and using sports to do it. I always say use the ball. Don't let the ball use you. There's a lot of knuckleheads out there, and you may have been one, that stay in school so they can play on a sports team. Boys in particular need that structure. They need male role models. They need love and support within a strong structure. A lot of you out there are busting your ass doing it. Thank you so much for all of you that are putting in the time. Not getting well compensated in exchange for it makes a big difference. Thank you. All right. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP, going to make you some money now. Fade coming up with Kelly Stewart. This has been OutKick the show. Headed into the weekend now, unless craziness happens. I'll be live tomorrow with Martha McCollum right after the radio show, and we're trying to set up that trip into East Tennessee and Western North Carolina to help shine a light on the plight of so many people there and do whatever we can using this platform to help them out. Thank you all.